my first 15 years trying to get out of the woods because I thought it was horrible. And I spent the next 20 years trying to get back. The truth of the matter is we need to be well-rounded individuals like our forefathers were.
Woo! Yeah, baby. It's time for another Mountain Readiness. And of course, I'm your host, Big T, coming at you from Appalachistan, the Appalachian Mountains here in good old Wilkes, North Carolina. I see eyeballs in the room. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all them things, so they can tell me that I used unmonetized music, and now I don't get paid my 3 cents. Whatever, hit me with that strike. Welcome in the chat, everybody. Patrick 7, give me peace now. K-Love, I got all kinds of people. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being a part of tonight's live stream. It's going to be a good one. I'm going to enjoy this one. We've got a guest tonight that we haven't had on yet. So, which always makes it even more exciting. But tonight, I think this is episode 74. I want to say something like that. I think you're supposed to write those down, but I don't. So I think we're at somewhere in the 70 something or other. This is brought to you by Soil Saviors. Make sure to scan that. Remember, you want nutrient-dense food. You got to have nutrient-dense soil. These guys have got it figured out. Check it out. 5-acre box. Look, it's not cheap, guys. Quality products are not cheap. It's just what it is. But the results that you get from quality products is well worth the money invested. And if you don't like the price, go in with your friends. Go in with your friends and divvy it up. These 5-acre kits, you can split that thing up probably 4 or 5 ways with your friends and still have plenty for your garden areas throughout the year. So look into that. Thank you to the Russ of Oz, of course, behind the curtains, pulling the levers, pushing the buttons, helping me out. Upcoming events, Mountain Readiness, May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Get your tickets. I added some more instructors. They just got added just the other day. So if you haven't kept up, check them out. We got some new people. We've got all of our veterans that's been with us from the get-go, and we've got a bunch of new people. Tonight's guest will be the first time coming to Mountain Readiness as well, doing some really cool stuff. Right after Mountain Readiness, we have CanCon. I don't think we have a thing for it, but remember, the very following weekend, the 8th and 9th, 7th is VIP, all right? If you're a VIP, it's the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Good luck on that, because the VIP tickets went on sale today, and it usually lasts about 10 minutes before they're completely sold out. So good on you if you got one. You probably didn't, though. So 8th and 9th for the rest of us. And of course, Mountain Readiness West in Swan Lake, Montana, 80 acres of awesomeness, an hour from Glacier National Park. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, where can you go? Oh, and we're going to be eating elk and moose. We just signed on Radio Made Easy. Evan and Radio Made Easy is going to make the trip, come hang out with us. We'll be doing, of course, comms classes. We've got all the, Angry is going to be there. Russ, the Russ man's going to be there. We've got a big crew that's going. I think it's about 30 people is going to be going down that direction. A whole 36 hours one way, but it's going to be worth it. And of course, Joe Dolio is hosting that with us. The veteran-owned lodge. It's got all the amenities. Can't wait. What else we got, Russ? Sovereign Health Summit, October the 27th through the 31st. It matters, guys. It's just gear if you don't have your health. That's what it comes down to. Everybody buys gear. Everybody does, cool guy stuff. But if you don't have your health, that is the foundation of everything. You need that health. So come check it out, the Sovereign Health Summit. We've got all these awesome people that are going to be there, and it will be well worth your time, especially a 5-day event. And the ticket prices, you just can't beat it. So let's get into it. Tonight is our guest, the Permaculture Consultant, Mr. William Bond. William, of course, grew up in the preparedness thing. He's got quite the resume. Earned his Permaculture Design Certificate. The School of Permaculture, Plano, Texas. Studied under Geoff Lawton, which that there in itself is, if you're into permaculture, that guy is one of the founding fathers. Apprentice at the Earthship Biotecture, which I find as a carpenter, that's really cool. We're going to have to talk about that tonight, amongst a plethora of other things that he does that we'll get in here tonight. First time on the show, but definitely not the first time on a microphone. Please welcome Mr. William Bond.
Man, that was an awesome intro. Thank you so much.
Man, we appreciate you, especially you've been traveling all over the place, man. And then you just, you barely got the you're still jet lagged all to pieces, and then you're on a podcast tonight. So I appreciate you doing it.
Thank you for having me, dude. Yeah, I ain't jet lagged, dude. I got a 2-year-old. I ain't tired. This is nothing. Yeah, we drove in from, as many of you guys know who like watch my channel and everything, you know that I live in Texas, and if this scene looks familiar, I'm actually at my dad's mountaintop jungle palace of love, as he calls it. The title's got to change
Turn
while
that
I'm
pimp into a simp.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, I got in just a couple hours ago, and I was excited to do this interview. It was awesome.
Awesome. No, man, I appreciate it. And guys out there in the comments, oh, wow, K-Love, you got signed up for the VIP. You caught one of the VIP tickets. Well, good for you. Man, that's hard to do. Good on you. Have you ever been to CanCon? Have you heard of CanCon?
No, I was going to ask you about it. What is CanCon? Is it similar to like a preparedness camp out type thing? What is it?
So Recoil Off-Grid Magazine. They also own like Blade Magazine, Blade Show. I mean, they're all the same guys. Recoil Magazine, Recoil TV. They started their own fully suppressed event, and everything is there. They have all the people, Dead Air, Silencer Co., all the places. They supply the ammo, and you just go around shooting all their stuff all day long, checking out all the suppressors. And, they've got, so we're going to be there. We set up a booth right there. And of course, Recoil Off Grid, I have to introduce you to our good friend, Patrick Dietrich, who is the chief editor of Recoil Off Grid magazine. You guys need to get together because he does, Recoil does all kinds of different, they do everything from survival to primitive skills to homesteading. So when we hooked up last year, it was this perfect mesh between what we're doing and what they write about. So we've got to get you guys together there in May, but you should check it out, man. We've got Mountain Readiness May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then right after that, it's in Clinton House, South Carolina, basically 2 hours from the campground, 2.5 hours. And so it's just, for 2 days straight, you just go out there and shoot stuff all day long. You ain't got to pay for ammo. It's all included. You just go around shooting everybody's stuff.
Dude, that sounds so doggone cool. I'd totally be down. Dude, that sounds amazing.
I hear that they're going to have they said about the minigun, having a minigun there. So they're doing one in Boulder, Colorado too. They have an east and a west, just like we're doing with Montana and here. But yeah, miniguns, helicopters, dude. It's off the hook. Yeah.
Man, that sounds fun. I wanted to warn people with the Montana one. Anybody who goes to the Mountain Readiness West out in Montana, some of y'all probably ain't coming back. You're gonna fall in love with the state, and you're like, nah, we're just gonna hit up the resort and be like, hey, can we just set up a tent and we'll live out here? The winters are harsh.
Hey, man, Montana, I've been to Butte. I've never been that far up, I mean, it's an hour from the Canadian line. And I mean, it's literally 1 hour from Glacier National Park. And so that's a lot further up than what I was there. But I will tell you, Montana is beautiful for 2 months. That's like July, August. And then the rest of it's 4 foot of snow. Except for this year, there's no snow. We got it all.
Texas got it all. You guys got it all. Texas got it all. Yeah. Man, you're going to get me started.
It was like this big bubble kind of over the whole western area of the United States. It was like something was like heating up the atmosphere or something and shoving stuff over. I don't know. It's probably just coincidence.
Yeah. I know somebody who does know, though, by the name of Dane Wigington.
Yes, he does.
Are you considering monetization on this podcast?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. Everybody, if you're ever wondering, like, hey, what are they doing up there? What's going on with the clouds? Why does it look like a quilt pattern up there? That's not a natural occurring pattern or anything like that. Go to Dane Wigington's website, geoengineeringwatch.org. And like, if you go to that website, if you're like on the fence of like, hey, is geoengineering real? Like, what's actually causing all this crazy weather? You go to his website and you don't leave that website fully convinced of geoengineering being a thing and having been a thing for many, many years. You are intentionally ignorant. That's just what it is.
That's just what it is, Yep. And they say you got to warm the algorithm up, man. We just set it on fire right out of the gates. That's how you do it.
I asked first.
The only thing that we can top this is, let's see how this goes. If you are a grown man sitting around on the couch drinking beer watching this Super Bowl, you're gay. We could go right into it from that.
Yep. Yeah. Especially with the times that we live in, you ain't got time to be watching some fixed game with some like satanic ritual at halftime. Nobody has time for that. Like, unless the only excuse you have is if you're related to somebody on there. Other than that, like with the times we live in, you do not have time. If you're a man, if you're a grown man, especially with the family, you do not have time to be watching other grown men play with a ball, and you ain't related to any of them. And it's especially gay if you're wearing a jersey. The only sport that's acceptable to watch as a grown man is fighting. That's it.
MMA, gladiator style sports is where it's at. Men in leotards slapping each other on the buttocks is not acceptable. The end.
Yeah, and at least with the Roman bread and circuses, at least their bread wasn't toxic, and at least the circuses, if they were rigged, everybody knew it because it was a reenactment of some battle. Now our bread is toxic, and the the games are fake and gay.
Exactly. And then you throw in all the Satanism and all that kind of stuff on top of it, and you got yourself, basically just another Sodom and Gomorrah. That's what we got.
And then they got some cross-dresser performing. Somebody asked me, they're like, hey, you gonna watch Bad Bunny play? And I'm like, what the hell is even that?
I had to look him up. I had to look it up. And then everybody was like, it was not in English. I was like, what? Are you telling me we had a halftime show that was not in English? Are you serious? How does that work? Where are we at?
It's American football. It's specifically called American football. It's not like they're playing soccer. Anyway, yeah, you can get me going on.
At one time, Hank Williams Jr. used to sing opening that show up. That's how American it was. And now we're not even singing it in. We're not even speaking English in the halftime. So, let's see. They said it wasn't Spanish either. I don't know. I have no idea. I have not watched it. I felt like I should check it out. I Googled, the bunny whatever. And I was like, well, this is nothing that I'm interested in. So I didn't dive into that any deeper. I felt like it was chasing after things that I didn't need to see. It was like that, follow not the ways of the necromancer. The seer, the necromancer, all those things. Just don't even do it. So I just didn't even look anymore at it. But yeah, it's pretty sad. So we're going to get along great if they don't kill the stream. But the upside is I'm not as cool as you and your dad, so I don't get looked at quite as hard as you guys do. So chances are we'll be okay. But hey, guys, if you have a question, we've got a permaculture professional in the house. And planting season is coming up. So if you've got some gardening or permaculture questions, man, hashtag perma, drop those questions in here and we will go through those and get to them, as many as we possibly can, as we roll through tonight's show. So I think there was a couple in there. I already did that one. Great guest. We can even throw some of that stuff up. There we go.
Oh,
Great
thank
guest
you,
tonight.
Nancy.
I agree.
Nancy's actually in she's taking my online permaculture design course right now. Yeah, she's awesome.
Nice.
She's eating
Nice.
through that material too. That's awesome.
Man,
And
that's great.
also, guys, because you are on an audio platform as well, like I'm at your service. My YouTube channel is called the Permaculture Consultant. If you are listening on audio platform and you don't have the opportunity of leaving a question in the comments, shoot me an email, or you can leave it in the comment section of any of my permaculture Q&A videos. Every other video that I do is a permaculture Q&A where I just go through and answer your questions, because I can come up with whatever videos that I come up with and hope that it's beneficial to you guys. But if you guys ask me direct questions, then I can answer your question directly in either video format, here, email, whatever it may be. I'm at your guys' service.
Man, that is awesome. And you guys, for real, between him and his dad, you guys are my idols when it comes to permaculture and all that. Like, I've learned more from watching you and your dad than I have anything else. Yeah, I mean, that's a fact. That's a fact. But that's because you guys put so much into learning this. I mean, you guys have years and years and years into it. Let's talk about some of that kind of stuff. So you studied under Geoff Lawton. That's one thing. I mean, you went over there, right? You were in Australia then.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I lived with him for about 6 months, and I got I was, thankful. This is where like the vegans came in handy, because I was surrounded by like everybody else who was staying at the farm. They were either vegan or they were there just to like as a place where they could work in exchange for like living accommodations, and then they'd go like party on the weekends. They'd go like travel Australia and everything. I was really the only one there at that time that was there trying to learn permaculture, and Geoff recognized that, and he took me on a lot of little like secret missions around the farm, and it was awesome. I got a lot of one-on-one time, and it's all thanks to Eric Sider. My first permaculture design class was actually from Nicholas Burtner and Eric Sider over in Plano, Texas. Still friends with Eric. He's awesome. He actually does like a segment on the Pimpcast every episode and everything. Yep. But Eric is awesome. One day he just asked me, he's like, "Hey, do you want to go like study under Geoff?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And then it was just later I was on a flight to Australia battling vegans and killing snakes with a machete.
Man, I would love that. I mean, that is, and that I always hear that. I know some people from Australia, and it's like, well, everything in Australia will kill you. And I'm like, man, that doesn't sound like a pleasant place whatsoever. It's, how was that? I mean, what does permaculture look like in a place that everything is trying to kill you?
It's instead of looking forward, you're constantly looking down for snakes, because there were two snakes that I killed on a regular basis. One was a common brown snake, eastern common brown snake, which if you get bit by that, you have 2 hours till you die. And even if you do get like the anti-venom, you're gonna have permanent nerve damage. And then the other one was like the the inland taipan or something like that. And that thing, you got 2 minutes. Yeah. And I got a shovel or a machete. Like, all right, it's National Geographic everywhere in that country. Like, I was at their version of like Home Depot or whatever, and I'm just sitting in the parking lot watching this red belly black snake fighting this iguana in the parking lot, and I'm looking around, I'm like, this is a city, I'm in the city, and these two are just fighting right here in the parking lot, and nobody else is stopping and watching this. I'm like ready to grab some popcorn and sit back and relax, watch this real life National Geographic in front of me. But yeah, both times I tried to surf, there were shark attacks, so I just took that as a sign, like, all right,
surfing ain't the place. It ain't the place, nope. Bro. Nope. Yeah, shark attacks, and I've always wanted to go to Australia. But and of course, and I would if I ever get the chance, I will go to Australia. But everything is just hardcore there. It seems like the climate, the heat, the wildlife. I even I'm a diesel tech. I've been a heavy truck tech for 30 years before I got out of business a couple years ago, and even their trucking. These guys have these hopped up 1,000 horse I mean, these things are monsters with like 5 extra fuel tanks on them, and they're train. It's a train. It's a land train, and these things are cruising across the desert of Australia for like a few hundred miles at a time, hundreds of miles through the desert, out there by themselves in the middle of nowhere. You basically have to be like a top shelf mechanic, a tire guy, the whole bit to fix everything. When you talk about self-reliance, like Australia, you got to be self-reliant.
to an extent. Like you got the extremes. Either you got like the super self-reliant, what they call bogans, which is us. We're the bogans, right? You got that group, and then you got the complete opposite of like the blue-haired, purple-breathing like Marchies. That's on the other side of the spectrum. And there's like I didn't really notice any kind of in between. But like if you could go to Australia, I would highly recommend it. One of the cool things about Australia is that like you can find good coffee everywhere. Like you can go to a gas station and find like they have like every gas station you stop at has like a cappuccino machine. Like they don't play about their coffee in Australia. And you can say like you have like a list of restaurants. You can pick any one of those restaurants and it's generally going to be pretty doggone good, just on average. And then like if you're going to buy goods there, like you got 2 options on the goods. You got the cheapest possible option directly from China, or you have the top quality option. Like whenever you're looking at like clothing or boots or like, given the topic of conversation, like fence energizers and stuff, you either have the cheap crap that's going to last for a little bit, or you have like the top dollar, best quality one, because it is an island and they don't have the ability to just ship in everything like the United States does. You have the bottom all the way up to the top and everything in between in the United States. You only have one or the other one in Australia, just because it is an island. But I highly recommend going. It's pretty cool. It's cool to visit. Very beautiful country. I was over like 2 hours from Brisbane. I was in New South Wales, Pinchen Valley. So for those of you guys that have like, if you're familiar with Australia at all, or farming, homesteading, stuff like that, the sub pod, the worm pod that fits directly in your garden and you keep your worms inside, that was developed a couple miles from Geoff Lawton. Also the flow hive. I was there when the flow hive people were introducing it to Geoff Lawton and giving him one. I had to build a concrete base for this flow hive and everything, but it's all, I don't know what's going on in that valley, but you either got like traditional agriculture, just like raping the land, or you got like the innovative permaculture people, or pot growers. And that's really the 3 types of people that live in like the Pinchen Valley. But it's awesome. Super nice people. Man. Everywhere I went, I didn't meet any jerks, anything like that. Very awesome people.
Man, I will definitely head that direction if I get the chance. I was actually invited to go to Alaska next month. Of course, I'm working. I got 500 things going on, all these, but it was all covered. I've got a buddy who is doing some SEER teaching out there at Fairbanks, Alaska, on the base with a bunch of the Air Force guys. And he's like, "Hey, you want to go to Alaska? I'm gonna roll out there." I'm like, "Man, when is it?" He's like, "Next month." I was like, "Yeah, well, that's not happening, but thanks. Thanks for rubbing salt in that wound."
Man,
another place I have not been to yet.
That would be cool. They got those mosquitoes that suck all your blood at once. Those big old birds flapping up there.
Dude, man. I've not been. I remember so far the worst I've seen of mosquitoes are Mississippi. Yeah. Like I live down in Mississippi, and that state, it's poor, and the mosquitoes try to kill you. That ain't for me. I don't know who would want to live in Mississippi or Louisiana for that matter. I don't know. There's a few areas of Louisiana that's okay. I've got a bunch of family that, that my mother was born and raised in Pineville, Louisiana, but Mississippi, I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass all the way around. So
I like northern Mississippi, like near Tupelo area. That's a cool part of Mississippi. Vastly, like northern Mississippi, I've noticed, and southern Mississippi are 2 different states. It's different. And then Louisiana is a place you strictly visit. That's it. Vacation.
Man, the humidity is the problem. That and the Natchez Trace. Have you ever drove on that stupid road?
No, I'm
Mississippi and Louisiana.
Yeah, I haven't.
Dude, Like this thing, it's on a levee. You know, the highway is literally on a levee, and it goes forever. It's one of those roads that you can see 100 miles down the road. And there's little pull-offs off each side of the levee, and the state boys park right off there. And it's 55 mile an hour, and they make sure you are running 55 mile an hour the whole 200 and whatever miles the stupid road is. And you just go into a trance. Like, you lose track of time driving on that road. And I've done a few. I'll pass. It's just not for me.
It's similar like that between Texarkana and Shreveport, Louisiana, because I live about like 45 minutes from Texarkana in Texas. Yeah, and on the way to Shreveport, if you go to Shreveport, Louisiana, it's that exact same scenario. It's on that levee. Like, there's swamp on either side, and then you just go into a trance. Next thing you know, you're doing 80 and getting pulled over. But it's a straight, flat road.
Oh, yeah, it's a straight, perfectly flat road. It was like the Mayans came in there and carved that thing to perfection, you know.
Yeah.
And Andrew, the food is good. I'll give you that. They have great food. I love the food. But it's not worth it. The humidity, when I walk outside of the house and it's 7:30 in the morning and I break a sweat before I reach the handle of my car, to the door, like, that's too hot, man. That's too much humidity.
Now, if you can handle that heat, like, I live not too far. I'm in the tri-state area. It's really more like the quad state area in Texas, where I got Louisiana, Arkansas, and Oklahoma on the far east side of Texas, not too far from me. They're all within easily an hour drive. And if you can handle the heat in there and the humidity there, you're not going to be bothered by the Australian heat. I thought, like, everybody was like, I went to Australia thinking it was going to be hotter than Texas was. Got there, and not a single day was like, oh, this is hotter than Texas, or this is too much. Like, I was there during their summer. Got in there during the spring, left during the fall. And not one day, and I was camping the whole time, and not one day was I like, oh, this is sweltering, or this is hot. So yeah, they must have patched that hole in the ozone.
No doubt. Yeah, that's what it was. I'm glad they fixed that over there. What in the world? Packs of wild dogs, cattle, horses, state troopers, regenerative orchards. By the way, guys, regenerative orchards will be joining us at Mountain Readiness May. He's going to be doing some tree propagation classes for us. So check him out. He is on the website right now. And what's going on, Byron? Glad you could join us. Missy calls that humidity. Yeah. Whatever it is, I don't want no part of it. And then Andrew, he keeps running his mouth too. What are you talking about, man? Have to suffocate? No. Look, y'all down there in that swamp land and stuff, this is where it's at. This is called God's country for a reason. That's all I'm saying. I'm sticking in this area right here. However, this past few weeks, man, has been a little brutal. Did you guys get the wind? Did you guys get the wind after those storms? Or was that just us?
Yeah, we got wind, but it's pretty typical for that part of Texas. Like, yeah, it's not unusual for us to get some pretty heavy winds. Like, when I record YouTube videos, if I don't use that sock that goes over the mic, you're not going to hear what I'm saying. It's almost always blowing wind, which is like, if you're trying to apply some like chopped straw or anything like mulch down in Texas, you always have to wet it first or wet it immediately afterwards, because that wind is just going to blow your mulch everywhere. Yeah, there's always wind there. Yeah.
Well, we got, right after that storm, big snowstorm, ice, all that, we got 65 mile an hour wind gust here at this house to these hills. Not even kidding you, man. It was like straight up, I thought it was a hurricane. It was a snow hurricane. Like, this stuff was brutal. It was flipping over. I've got 4x8 goat sheds, all built out of treated lumber, and then I covered in metal, and it's just open faced. Dude, I had 2 of them flip all the way across the back of the property here. It picked them up and threw them, across the hill. And
that's wild.
Trees down. Of course, we can get back to that whole, but here's what was crazy. The next day, I walk outside and the sky looked like 20 years ago. Like, it blew everything away, and it was just the gorgeous sky that I remember from 20 years ago. And then, of course, by the end of the day, it was gone.
Yeah.
Everything flying around, stitched it, tic-tac-toed it all to pieces. But Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Watch out for a
it's
Moon part 2 around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I even talked to your dad, and dude, we've been having these ground penetrating helicopters. They're contracted for geological and mineral. They have flight. I got a map. I'll text it to you. I got a map, the flight log of this thing flying over my house about 30 times. It was so low, dogs went crazy. I grabbed the M4. I thought somebody's coming through the door. And I'm like, what in the world? You know, I mean, it was that low. They were running 3,200 feet is what they were pushing the radar below surface. 3,200 feet. So they probably fried at what I had left of brain cells going over and running this thing. But so I started looking into it. Come to find out, this place started, take a guess where, down around Asheville, all the whole area. And they started it the month before Hurricane Helene come through.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know,
sit.
So now all of a sudden I got them flying over my house. And then a month later, we get this Antarctic, North Carolina weather, and then crazy wind and super cold. I'm like, it just doesn't seem like a coincidence. So
yeah, T, you're gonna get me started. Yeah,
let's start on this. Let's start on this. I know, your dad, being Billy Bond, and you have blazed your own trail. There is no overshadowing here. You guys, I mean, you are your own man by far. But I gotta ask, what was it like growing up with the pimp Billy Bond? What was that like?
All right, let me peel back the veil real quick. What you guys see is no different than what I grew up with. Like that is how Dad is in real life. Like what you guys see on the Pimpcast, what you guys see on the YouTube channel, all the sayings, all the everything. It is exactly the doggone same. But I mean, I'm extremely blessed to have my parents as my parents. Like going through public school, you go to school during the day, get your indoctrination, and then when I got home, that's when the real education began and everything like that. But also, like, they just taught me how to teach myself, how to become like an autodidact, to question what's actually being. They were teaching me the trivium without even putting a label on it. Like the human anti-lie detector, right? It was. I couldn't have asked for better parents, for sure. Everything that I've screwed up in my life, it wasn't because they didn't tell me not to do it. It was 100% my own hard-headed decision and stuff like that. But yeah, they whatever you guys see on YouTube, whatever you guys see on the Pimpcast is exactly how he is in real life. That's he can't act
through and through.
Yep. Yep. You can't put on a facade.
Now, and I love what you said right there, because, there's a lot of people, I've known people, they sit around and they're like, oh my God, why do you do this to me? It's always the same. It's like, if it's something bad, God's doing it. And, if it's something good, God doesn't even come into the picture. But, self-inflicted, man. I love how you just said that. You're like, man, it's not because they didn't tell me. And I have done so much stupid crap. And so many bad things have happened in life, but it's all self-inflicted. I would go as far as to say 98% of the stupidity that's happened in my lifetime was all self-inflicted.
Same. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like there were very clear warnings like, hey, that's not the right route to go. And I just went blind and just kept on going or something like that. But yeah, it was fantastic. And then like I got in trouble a lot during school because I would argue with teachers, and it was my dad's fault. And every time I got like in trouble for any of that stuff, we went to go see a movie. Dad gave no respect to the public school system at all. Like he pulled me out like oh yeah, like if there was a new Marvel movie out or like Lord of the Rings. I remember when Lord of the Rings was coming out, the first three, he pulled me out of school and they'd ask him like, hey, why are you what are you pulling him out for? Like, what's the reason? He's like, oh, we're going to go see a movie. And they were like, well, you can't pull him out of school to go see a movie. He's like, it's my son. Yes, I can. Yeah, but yeah, the complete disrespect and lack of respect for supposed authority. Like there's a logical fallacy called appeal to authority. Like if you think of like a pharmaceutical commercial or anything, they have that person in the white jacket and then they're giving you information. 9 times out of 10, that person ain't even a doctor, but you automatically assume that it's a doctor because they got the white jacket on. That's a perfect like example of appeal to authority. There was none of that going on in the household. So I'd be arguing with teachers about like the moon landing and stuff like that. I got a bad grade in study hall because I argued with the teacher about the moon landing and everything. But yeah, it was definitely interesting and unlike every other kid that I was going to school with, for sure.
That's great though. And I expected nothing less of an answer of that right there. I just had to ask. I was like, let's start with that one out there. Cause I've known your dad now your dad come to the very first Mountain Readiness we did, I believe, come out there and did the tactical food force. And, so, I met him, then I had, TJ was out there. That's when him and, TJ first met in person, Bear. And, I've kept up with your dad ever since then. So, but I was like, we've got to lead with that right there. How do you maintain a healthy form of family and lifestyle with as much as you're doing? Because you do consulting, permaculture consulting, so you travel around pretty much so anywhere, correct? Wherever they're willing to foot the bill.
Yeah, I'll go to war zones.
Right. I mean, how much money you got? Folded in half so it looked like more. I'm there. So especially with trying to stay with healthy eating, healthy living, lifestyle, how do you balance? And you do like 500 videos a week, it seems like. Plus your online permaculture school that you're doing. How do you maintain that family, healthy family lifestyle?
Man, I have every single day I write a list every single day. And then shout out to Andy Frizella. He has a podcast called Real AF. First started listening to him maybe 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. And I found out about this. My cousin actually told me about this program called 75 Hard. And then at first I was like, man, that's a horrible workout program. Like you're working out twice a day, every day for 75 days. Like that's not beneficial at all. And then I met John over at SOE. And he recommended doing 75 Hard, and 75 Hard literally probably changed the direction I was going in life. It built discipline. Not that I was like completely undisciplined before. I just I learned how to build discipline and become more disciplined and develop the attitude. Like, I don't care what's going on. Like, I'm still going to get done what I need to get done every single day. So every single day I do the power list, which is a list of 5 things that have to get done. Like, I'd rather lose a leg than not get these 5 things done on that list. And on that list, I include, like, I have a 2-year-old at home, and she hates it whenever I go somewhere where she can't go. So I on that list, I'll put things on the list like, all right, spend time with my daughter for X amount of time, or like read books to my daughter, or go outside and play with my daughter, things like that. I just have to write. If I don't write that list for that day, I'll wake up and I'll be busy, but I'll be busy in every direction, and I won't be accomplishing what it is I need to get accomplished. That being said, I still have a lot of growing in that department of that organization and getting that squared away. There's always going to be room for improvement as far as discipline and organization goes, and things like that. Like, I have the discipline part. It's the organization part that I got to work on.
Right. Yeah. It's a work in progress for all of us.
For sure. But I would say doing the job, being self-employed, even when I'm on the road, I'm still able to spend more time with my family doing this, even though I'm on the road a lot, than if I were working like a typical 9 to 5. And if you read the book, I believe it's named by Josh Tolley, but it's Evangelpreneur. He breaks it down and shows you like how much money you actually need to make in order to offset your day job. And it's shockingly little. Not like a little amount, but it's far less than what you're thinking, and having like a better quality of life just by working for yourself. I can't.
I love that you said that. I love that you said that, because I've not read the book, and I'm gonna have to check it out. But I did the whole chase the dollar for years and years and years and years. Growing up poor, when you're dirt poor and you see everybody else got nice stuff, you're like, man, I ain't never going to be this way ever again, And so you get this mindset that you just got to keep making more money, more money. So the kids come along. I have 2 sons, 2 daughters, and, that they were in school. Had to, books and shoes, it's multiple pair of shoes, all the sports, all the things, after school curricular, extracurricular activities. And so it's like, I'm going to have to take another job and take another job. I mean, I worked 2-3 jobs all the time, all the way through when my kids were young. And as I just kept going, of course, beat all to pieces, working those type of hours is not healthy. And so I started looking at what you're talking about right there. I'm like, man, I make this big paycheck, but then Uncle Sam comes and he takes half of it. It's gone. Half's gone right off the top. And then the rest of it, you're on the road and you're eating out and you have all these expenses, and some of them are expensed by the company that you work for, but there's always those hidden costs that you just can't roll into the per diems. And so you're spending all this money. And I was like, man, instead of worrying about a $500 food bill because I have 4 children, probably should have just grew a garden and cut a big chunk of that food bill completely out. And just like you said, it is insane how little money that you need to maintain actually a decent, adequate lifestyle.
Yeah, the key is to avoid unnecessary, stupid debt. That's the main key right there. Rent whatever you can, buy whatever you can. But as far as I don't have a brand new truck. I have a 2001 F350 that was given to me by TJ over at Bear Independent. I was doing a consultation for one of the Caleb House locations, and I was like, hey, I know you do disaster relief. If you're looking to decommission any one of your trucks, let me know and I'll buy it from you. Thinking that it was going to be pretty beat up and I just need to get something from the property to the other property. That's all I need it for. And then he gave me the F350, and then my wife's car was given to her by her brother. Now those are rare circumstances. Rarely are you gifted a vehicle. But before that, the most money I've ever spent on a car was $3,000. That's the most.
Awesome.
And it lasted years. Yeah.
I had an F-150, had the inline straight 6 in it, 5-speed. And I paid $500 for this truck, and the transmission was gone. Gears all to pieces. So I bought another $500 truck, swapped the transmissions, took that truck, grabbed all the parts that I knew I was going to need, alternator, batteries, anything that I could pull off of it. Took that truck, sold it for $350. So now I've got, $150 in this truck, and I drove it for 8 years, doing construction, and beat it to pieces. Never changed the oil in this truck. It burned oil. So every couple of days I'm dropping a quart of oil in it. I'm like, whatever. I got it. This is a $150 truck, right? And when I sold the truck, all the belts were showing in every single tire. I never even put tires on this thing in 8 years. Drove it all over the place. I'm not even lying. There was belts everywhere. I was like, you know what? I sold this truck for $500.
Man, that's awesome.
I mean, you can't beat that. And we're looking at trucks right now. And, my wife, we've got the homestead here. We raise, heritage Bielefelder chickens, dual purpose. We're doing meat chickens. We sell at the markets. And so we're needing another truck so that when she goes to market, we can haul stuff. And we get online, man. And these trucks, you might as well just buy another house. Like $65,000 for a Toyota Tundra. I'm like, what? Are you serious? No, there is no way.
And I live in an area where what you drive is the entire personality of that person. My backdoor neighbor, they have a truck sitting in that parking lot or in their driveway that is twice the cost of that house. I know the cost of that house because the guy who built that strip of houses did the same doggone plan on every single house. I know how much that house costs, and their truck is twice that much. And I would love to say that that's like a rarity where I live in Texas, but it's very, very common. People are eating, like Dad says all the time, people have like $1,000 truck payment every month and they're eating hot dogs. Like, yeah, we got our priorities backwards. They're also the ones that are watching gay Super Bowls too. But yeah, they're over there eating hot dogs. Man, I don't get it. Yeah,
gay Super Bowls, eating hot dogs, staring at the sky, thinking about how pretty those clouds are that go in crisscrossing directions.
Man, yeah, and yeah, that's hoe behavior. And if y'all don't know if you see the sign back here, but that says PIMP. It's an acronym for permaculture is my passion, but yeah.
But nevertheless, yeah. It may be one of those double entendre where it's got two meanings. And the other meaning is don't be like hot dog eating gay people at Super Bowl Sunday. That's what it is. Man, we just went off the deep end. That's all right. It's good. That's how I like it. Let's grab a couple of these questions real quick. What we got here? So Mr. Matt King, good friend of mine, he's been coming to Mountain Readiness now for quite a while, and he is deep diving into gardens, and now he's got chickens. And so, Perma, I'm starting the greenhouse this year. What should I plant first?
All right. So the answer is actually going to answer quite a few questions in regards to like what should he plant and stuff like that. Do a week or a month-long food log. Write down everything you eat every single day, no matter if it's a snack, if it's like a main meal, whatever it is. And just once you write down that log, look at that log and be like, all right, what can I grow that's in this list? And that's what you should grow. I also highly recommend downloading the app called Garden 8. It's Garden ATE. It's all one word. It's like $1.99 on YouTube. As soon as I showed up to Geoff Lawton's farm, he came up to me, he asked me, he's like, do you have his app? I was like, no, I've never heard of it. And he said, if you're serious about growing food, you need to download this app. And then I immediately downloaded the app. And you just put in your growing zone, and it'll tell you exactly when to start seeds, when to transplant, when to sow directly into the garden. And it has a ton of information on each individual plant, as far as like cultivation, how to, what to plant it next to, what not to plant it next to. And then you'll have to do a little bit of tweaking just because the microclimates, it goes based off growing zone. For example, like where I live, I'm in zone 8A. Actually, they just switched it. I'm in zone 8B. So I noticed, like, all right, whatever it's saying on that app, I can start a little bit, like I can start 2 weeks earlier. And then like going into fall, I can plant like 2 weeks later. But as far as what you should plant, plant what you eat. Like a lot of people, like where I live in Texas, they all grow okra. And the reason they all grow okra is not because they eat okra. It's because it makes your garden look good. Because it doesn't matter how much you abuse it, how dry that summer is, you're always going to have some pretty okra plants out there that are always going to do fantastic. Now, as far as like, if you're wanting specifics, if you said you started in the greenhouse this year, so I'm assuming like whatever your growing situation in there is brand new. Whether you did raised beds or in the ground growing, whatever it may be, get a cover crop in. That is going to be the easiest, most passive form of soil building in your greenhouse that you could possibly do. For example, I did when I first moved back to Texas. I shaped the beds, so I had to till and everything. I shaped the beds, got them shaped up, and then I immediately put down a cover crop. And I turned that hard Play-Doh like Play-Doh clay soil into beautiful crumb structure in about 3 to 6 months with just using a cover crop. The benefit of the cover crop is it's going to, plants do photosynthesis. It shoots the sugar down into the soil. It's called an exudate, and it feeds the microbes. The microbes eat that sugar, and with that sugar comes a grocery list of everything that plant needs in exchange for the sugar. The microbe goes and derives that from the organic or inorganic material within the soil, the rocks, the sand, silts, clays, also any organic material that's in the soil. It breaks it down, producing an enzyme, which is what controls pH, is that enzyme that the microbe produces, and then it derives that from that material. The microbe derives it from that material. Now that microbe can't make a direct transaction back to that plant. It has to get eaten by its predator, pooped out, and then the plant benefits. If you have that going on in your soil, you're going to be building soil very, very quickly. And if you plant a cover crop and maintain it, you're gonna go gangbusters. That same year, I planted sweet potatoes in what was it? It was like right after Easter, I planted sweet potatoes, watered them in, and then that was the last time I watered all year. And then 120 days later, harvested them and had a fantastic harvest. And the only thing that I took care of was the cover crop. I didn't water after I planted. I did not water at all. And Texas has a guaranteed drought every single year. Every single year.
Wow.
That part of Texas, I should say.
Man, that covered all the bases right there. That's phenomenal, though. Yeah, because Texas is another one of those areas. That heat out there, about the same deal. So you didn't water. You were done watering at 6 months.
I was done
you
watering.
Didn't water anymore. That was it. Man, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. I take the Mark Shepard stun method of the strategic total utter neglect, the stun method, and he just applies it to trees. I apply it to all my plants. Right now, in fact, it's still February. Right before I came up here, because we're going to be up here for about 3 weeks or so. Before we came up here, I had started a bunch of pepper plants. It was a last minute trip, so kind of messed up my seed starting and everything. I put it all out in the garden. So we're going to see how well this stun method will work, because I got tomatoes out there right now. I got peppers out there, zucchinis, cucumbers, squash, all types of stuff that does not like the cold. So we're going to see how well this works.
February. You know, I complain every year, and I'm trying it this year, winter casting. The winter casting thing. So I'm waiting for the ground to thaw out just a little bit more, because we had this freeze that come out of nowhere. And for 3 weeks, this is the first time I've seen my pond where I could almost step out onto it. It was froze that hard, that thick. And so I'm going to try this too, because I get mad every single year, man. I go out in the yard, and because you got chickens, you got scraps and stuff's getting strewn everywhere, and out of nowhere, here's this tomato plant that just start growing right in the middle of the yard. I'm like, I'm just going to throw a little mulch around it and, let it go. Man, when it comes up on its own, the thing is amazing. Just the best looking plant. It's got tomatoes everywhere on it. And then the ones that I started inside or put in my garden and I baby and I take care of it look like crap. Half the size, half the production. And I'm like, this thing just pops up right out of the yard. It isn't even, the soil doesn't even look as good, but there it is, just killing it. So let me know how that goes. Let me know how it goes there in Texas, how they reacted. I'm gonna try it myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a video on it for sure. I'm thinking that because we have a 34-degree night coming up, cucumbers, tomatoes, they really don't like that cold weather. They really don't like anything past like 50. So we're going to see. I'm hoping it works. If it does work, I'm saving all those doggone seeds. Those guys. those need to, definitely pull some off and dry out for those there. Sandy, she says, with all the sky activity growing under grow lights inside, have you seen issues with your plants due to that stuff? Or is your permaculture just going so good, the microbes and stuff, that it's fighting it off? So as far as now, if you're talking about the dimming of the sun, it's kind of like the Jack Cruz saying that Tina, when it comes to the sun, there is no alternative. Tina, grow lights will work. Like, it's fantastic for, getting your seed started and everything like that. But it just doesn't work as well as the sun. So right now I can say, like, the dimming hasn't affected the plants to such an extent where we still can't grow a bunch of our own food. Now, if you're talking about what's falling out of the sky, the sponsor of this episode is the place to go. So you have three options when it comes to dealing with the soil contamination, either whether it's coming from the rain or you live in next to a Superfund site or whatever the deal is. I just did a video on it yesterday. Actually, it just went up yesterday, but it's 3 ways to fix like a contaminated soil, any kind of soil, no matter what your issue is. There's 3 ways to fix it. You can get a cover, and I'd suggest combining all 3 methods, actually. Getting a cover crop down so that way you're feeding the organisms, making your own compost. Y'all, you cannot buy compost. You have to make your own compost. We've tested all of the compost that you can buy. It all sucks. It ain't worth, like, the only way I would take that compost is if they're paying me to fix it. That's the only way I would, like, take any store-made landscape mulch yard, whatever compost. No matter how good they try to convince you that it is, it's all garbage. The benefit of compost is that we're farming organisms within the compost, and they're super indigenous. They're indigenous to your area. And then the third method is soil savers. But what I recommend is combining all 3 methods. Now, you did mention at the beginning of the episode, like soil savers in the long run, if you think about it, is far cheaper than going with these store-bought Khyber Bosch produced nitrogen-based fertilizers. It's far cheaper. Hit that link, guys. You can, if you got 10 of you to go in on one of those 5-acre boxes, you would still have all the microbes you could possibly need if you played your card right. So what I recommend doing is, let's say 10 of you got into it, and then you divide it up by 10, and each of you guys get a 10th of the box. Make your compost, hold on to those ingredients, make good high quality compost, thermophilic compost, where it's a hot process, it goes through a hot process. Let it come down to ambient temperature, let it cure. And once it comes down to ambient temperature, inoculate that compost with the soil saviors. And then as long as you always put like a handful of that compost into any new compost that you make, you always have those organisms. You're always going to have those organisms. The organisms within soil saviors a lot of them are extremophiles or RK bacteria, which thrive in like just horrible conditions. And guess what their primary food source is? Toxins, dioxins, things that we're told are forever chemicals that they can't get rid of. So, and then also within your own homemade compost are a bunch of organisms that won't necessarily destroy the toxins, but they'll lock those toxins up in medium and long chain carbonic acids. And let's say it's heavy metals that are being sprayed on you. Heavy metals are only bioavailable to your plants when your pH is below 4.5. Once it's below 4.5, then those heavy metals are bioavailable to your plants. If you have the organisms in place, your pH is never going to reach 4.5. It's going to stick to just a little bit above 7, all the way up to like somewhere between 6 and 7. That's where plants thrive, as long as you have the organisms in place. So, y'all, like there's a saying from Bill Mollison, who's one of the creators of permaculture, and I'm going to loosely quote it. It was like, though the problems of the world become increasingly complex, the solutions are shockingly simple. It really is. And compost can be very easy to make. If I put sawdust on the ground and I piss on it, that's compost. If you run animals and they poop on the ground, that's composting. That is an active decomposition process where it's farming organisms. Man, dude, if you don't stop me, I'm going to go the rest of this time talking about
That's all right. Yeah, I love it. That's why we brought you on here, man. They ain't here to hear my mouth, man. They're here to hear yours. So no, I think that's great. You know, it's amazing with soil saviors. And look, guys, what he just said: 10 of you go in, 5 of you go in, 10 of you. Think about this: 10 of you go in on this. I guarantee you spend more at Mickey D's with the family, like twice as much than what your out of pocket would be if you get with your friends and you break it down like that. I mean, it's cheaper than eating at fast food restaurant. That's how cheap it is if you go in with a few of your friends. And we've got a front yard out here. I actually was sending it to Pat and Doc Will, pictures of this front yard, man, compared to the rest of the place where I sprayed this down, where we ran our chickens, we're doing all these things. We had these 3 weeks of super cold. I mean, dude, for 3 weeks we were hitting, good night, we were like 12 degrees for a high for multiple, like a week straight. It was like 12, 15 degrees for a high. The windy night, we hit 30 below zero wind chill here in North Carolina, here in Appalachia. My grass, all the ice and stuff is melted off, and it's emerald green still. Man, like emerald green, all 3 weeks of cold. And that tells me, man, those roots there's stuff down there in that dirt that's doing its job, because it looks like the hills of Ireland right out here in my front yard after 3 weeks of just being beat unmercifully from this weather. I'm going to call that a win. Man.
Now, you said Matthew was in Montana, right?
Matthew is down in South Carolina. He's in South Carolina.
Okay, so for those of you guys that get like with snow every single year, here's an awesome way to passively make compost exactly where you're growing. In fact, I have a client that's up in Michigan who's getting his property ready for when he moves to that property. He's going to run cows and sheep and stuff like that, but he can build soil in the meantime. And this is all you have to do before your snowpack comes in every single year. If you're in an area that gets guaranteed snow every year, before your snowpack gets in, put a ton of organic matter on the surface of wherever you're trying to grow food. It could be pasture, it could be like raised beds, in-ground beds, orchards, whatever it may be. put your organic matter down first, and then let the snow come in. You can go up to 3 feet thick before the contact point between your mulch material and your soil goes anaerobic. And it can be any kind of carbon source. It can be hay, it could be straw. If you're doing pastures, I recommend doing hay. It's kind of a 2-for-1 thing. You're seeding your pastures, and at the same time, you're getting organic matter down. You can do straw, you can do wood chips, you can do leaves, all kinds of stuff. Whatever it is, get that down before your snow comes in. And then your snow comes in, and then next spring, you will notice a night and day difference within your soil composition of the crumb structure, the nice, good crumb structure. And then also, if you do like a soil biology test, you'll notice an increase in microbes as well. The reason being is that underneath your snowpack is the fastest recorded decomposition rates on Earth. Most people think it's going to be like a rainforest where the fastest decomposition occurs. It's not true. It's underneath snowpack. The reason being is that you get your snow in, right? It's covering the surface of the soil. There's a steady temperature on the contact point with the soil. There's going to be a very, very steady temperature, allowing your microbes to adapt and then not have to deal with like homeostasis with the fluctuating temperatures, or having to deal with the constant travel back and forth, up and down in the soil. And then also there's a constant slow drip of moisture. So, which ironically enough is about 50% moisture content, which is like perfect for decomposition for aerobic microbes within your soil. So yeah, if you have snowpack, just a little easy cheat code you could do every single year. Just make it a habit of putting down organic matter once your growing season is done, and then letting the snow come in, and then you got fantastic soil afterwards.
Man, that's great. I'll try that. Hopefully we don't get any more snow, but I have a feeling it depends. As soon as the helicopter starts flying over again, I'm like, all right, well, let's go out and get my compost ready. That's what I'll be doing. Here's actually a picture of this stuff, man. So here is, this is the yard, like, that blocked us out here. This is the yard off to the right. There's the yard off to the right that I didn't treat anything. Here it is.
Dang.
Wow.
Dang.
And that's, I mean, if you can see back in here, all the not alive brown, and it's all the way around, but this is what it looks like right now. Right now, this is what this was actually taken before the snowstorm, but I actually went out there. I mean, I was looking at it today because everything melted off. I was like, holy cow, this stuff is just as green as it was when we before the snow hit. And that was actually December right there is when I took that picture.
That's awesome.
I love it. We had one more question. I know we're going long, but we had one more question from our boy down in Louisiana, Mr. Andrew. He said, Perma is an edible landscape, the same as permaculture. I really want to utilize the crappy landscape around the house for production.
All right. So edible landscape, I get this question a lot. Like, is regenerative agriculture the same as permaculture? Is like keyline design the same as permaculture? Think of permaculture as a toolbox, and all of those methods are within the toolbox. Now, if I'm going to a house site and I'm doing like a plumbing job, right? I don't need wire strippers, so I'm not going to use that tool for that application. So that's all permaculture is it's an umbrella or it's a toolbox, and depending on what the job is determines what tools you're going to use. But yeah, absolutely, edible landscape, I would say, is is one of the tools within the toolbox. There's some awesome examples of like suburban or urban agriculture. Okay, here's another. Man, I'm about to go off. There's a whole.
Let's do it.
All right. So the cool thing about small acreage property, right, is that I'm going to have a higher yield per square foot on smaller acreage than I will on 100 acres. So if I had, like, let's say a 1/4 acre lot in the city, I'm going to yield more per square foot on that than I'm going to a 100-acre farm. The reason being is that I can pay more attention to each individual square foot on that particular piece of property. Whereas that 100 acres, there's a lot of people go in and they're like buying like 20-acre parcels, 50-acre parcels, 100-acre parcels, and you don't need that. If your goal is to like produce a lot of your own food, let's say 80% is if you hit 80%, you're doing fantastic. Let's say that's your goal is to produce 80% of your food. You can easily do that on a 1/4 acre lot because you're going to have a highly dense food production on that 1/4 acre lot if it's designed well. That's where a lot of people fall apart is is that it's not designed well. A lot of people get into, let's say a lot of people are coming in from the tech industry and they're getting into permaculture and regenerative agriculture. A lot of it being due to this AI type stuff. And then during COVID and all that stuff, they were losing jobs, or they just had a lot of extra time on their hands and they wanted to start producing their own food. The issue is that they get the property and they're like, cool, now I'm going to do all the stuff all at the same time. You can't do that. If you do all the stuff all at the same time, you're going to quit, which we get a lot of people right now that are quitting just because they burned out. If you don't have proper design, it's not going to work well. If you don't do things in the right order, it's not going to work well. Like, believe it or not, if you buy a new piece of property, food production is like number 5 on the list of things that you should achieve on that property. The first thing you should do is worry about access. The second thing you should do is worry about water. Like, where's your water coming from? How do I need to redirect water on my property? Do I have any erosion events? Are there any opportunities to capture water within the landscape? What's my organic matter looking like on the property? Things like that. And then third is structures. And this is where people fall apart when they're buying raw land. People buy raw land and they put in like a fifth wheel or some temporary housing, something like that. And then they get all the animals. And they're doing this with the thought of like, all right, I'm going to produce food, and at the same time, I'm going to build my house. I have seen, of all the consultations I've done, of all the different states, the countries I've been to do consultations, I've seen one homestead that has ran animals at the same time that they built their house or refurbished their, remodeled their house. I've seen one example of that actually working. What typically happens is you get the fifth wheel, you're living in the fifth wheel, then you get all the animals, and then you realize you have less time than you did before the animals. Everything is going to require far more time than you're expecting. And then you just never build the house, and then you get burnt out because you're living in a camper and you got 3 kids running around and they're all getting older. And then you have some issues there. Man,
you're on it. And I am guilty of some of these because of not putting in the study, but getting that learning. We have been here at this homestead, our little homestead here, for 10 years now. And I'm pretty sure if I could flip the clock back 10 years, I could be here in 3 years. But all the chasing my tail stuff is what it ended up, trying to do too many things all at once. And we're just now starting to get that big footing because it was remodeling the house. Let's get animals. Let's do this. Let's build this. Now our chicken house, I'm not so sure about. Now I'm moving this. I'm putting the chickens in the woods, the silvo pasture type stuff, because it's just a better way of doing it. And so it's just, you do consultations. So That's something. Let's end with that. Tell people, what you do, what you offer, because there's some people in here that are just getting into this journey. There's some people in the comments right here, and I'm sure that will see this video, that are actively looking to buy property for a homestead. So what do you do, where people can find you, and, to help them along with this?
So as far as like the services that I do soil biology testing. So you can send me a sample of your soil and I'll analyze it under a microscope, see what microbes are there, what needs to be there, and what we need to do to fix your property. I do that. And then as far as on-site consultations, I offer 2 different types of consultations. One is a virtual consultation, and that really only works well if you have like specific questions you're wanting to do. We'll do like a Zoom call, FaceTime, whatever it is. I'll look at whatever's going on, and then you'll bounce back questions with me and I'll answer them and stuff like that. And then I do on-site consultations. And what that is, like the biggest benefit of an on-site consultation is that you get to start skipping all of my mistakes. Like, you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. You get to make new mistakes. You get to use the experience that I have of growing up in the preparedness realm, transitioning into homestead, and then transitioning into permaculture. You get to skip all those mistakes, and then you get to start like where I'm at right now. You get an order of operations, which is like what to do, when to do it, and what order to do things. You get a plant list of like commercially available plants that are like perennial plants that are going to work well in your area. You get a book list, because continuing education, consultation is not like all of the information you need forever, because I'm still learning. I'm still learning things that like I didn't know a year ago, or I didn't know 2 or 5 years ago. So there's a continuing education portion of depending on what you want to do, books that I recommend you checking out, or YouTube channels, whatever it is, just continuing education part. You get signed up for lifetime soil analysis. So if you do an on-site consultation, no matter like where you are or how long it's been since that consultation, you can always send me a sample of your soil and I can track progress that way. And then you get access to me afterwards for any questions that pop up along the way. Or if you change your mind, and you're like, hey, turns out I don't really like sheep. They're kind of jerks. Or more applicable, turns out I don't really like goats. They keep getting out of the fence. I'll first start off by saying, I told you, and then we'll progress from there and, transition you into something that you actually like. But I also do speaking at festivals and stuff like that. My YouTube channel. Oh, and if you're interested in any of that stuff, shoot me an email at thepermacultureconsultant@gmail.com. Anywhere you go, you can always just type in the Permaculture Consultant and you're going to find my YouTube channel, social media, things like that. Email is the best way to get a hold of me. And then my YouTube channel is called The Permaculture Consultant. Every other video I do is Permaculture Q&A, where I answer you guys' questions in the comment section on my video. And then you can always shoot me, let's say you had a question or you think of a question after hearing this and you're like, dang, I should ask this. Shoot me an email at thepermacultureconsultant@gmail.com. Same email. But yeah, I'm at your service. Like I'm fully, I believe what Andy Frisella has said as far as like, don't focus on the money part, do good work, and then money will be a byproduct of it. Like I'm more than willing to answer anybody's questions at any point.
Man, I appreciate you sticking, well, for one, being tired and all that kind of stuff, coming on here, hanging out with me. Man, I got so many questions I wrote down here. We ain't even got to them. We got to do this again sometime, William. We got to do this again. And because this has been a blast. I love it. And people are loving it. Great show. And of course, come May, you're going to be there. We're going to process a ram. And can we do a little composting with what we got left while we're there?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we can totally. Hey, I'm down to do whatever it is you want to do. Yeah. Just point me in the right direction and I'll run with it. Whatever you want to do.
Well, there you go, guys. May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. If you ain't got your tickets and you didn't have a reason, now you do. You're gonna learn how to process a ram right on site, and then we're gonna use every single bit of what's left to make some awesome compost, because it gave its life for a purpose. We don't waste any of these things. So that's reason enough for me. I'm looking forward to it. I really appreciate you coming on tonight, William. Looking forward to meeting in person finally in May. And we got to do this again, man.
I'm down. Hey, man, I'm here for 3 weeks. So, yeah, just let me know.
Sounds like a plan. Well, you guys, thanks for joining us tonight. It's been a great show. Thank you, William. Thanks to the Russ man, the Russ of Oz, pushing buttons, pulling levers behind the curtain. You guys know the routine. Stay safe. Stay ready. We'll see you next Monday.